I'd like to welcome everybody to the Needham Library Board of Trustees hybrid meeting. This is the January 13th, 2026 open public meeting of the Needham Library Board of Trustees being held via hybrid format, allowing remote attendance. First, I'd like to take a roll call to confirm that trustees, library staff, and persons anticipated to be on the agenda are present and can hear me. Trustees, Kay Cahill.
Here.
Erhard Gregg. Here. Jay Fialkov.
Here.
Megan Small.
Here.
Joshua Small.
Here.
Rob Pettit.
Here.
And myself, Michael O'Neill. Library staff, Director Robert McLean.
Here.
Administrative Assistant Jenna White.
Here.
Program Specialist Kay Ellen Dennett.
Here.
And Recording Secretary Faith Crystal.
Here.
Do we have a representative of the Library Foundation of Needham? This meeting is being recorded. If there is a problem that prevents the completion of this meeting, we will reconvene at 7 p.m. on February 10, 2026. I hereby call this meeting of the Needham Board of Library Trustees to order at 7:06 p.m. Public comments. Citizens are welcome to speak up to 3 minutes each, not to exceed a total of 10 minutes. Citizens are encouraged to inform the library director in advance of their intention to speak. Those who provide advance notice will be called upon first. While the board will take public comments under advisement, there may be no opportunity for discussion or debate during this portion of the meeting. Excuse me. Okay, I request a motion to approve the minutes of the December 9th, 2025 meeting. Then we can discuss. Any second?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
I have one really tiny thing on the first page under number 3. These, I guess you would say this after the semicolon. K Hill, oh no, here it is. K made 2 edits in the call to order. There should be a period. Call to order, period. Capital T, the next meeting will take place.
I also had a small comment. The second paragraph on the second page, there's a comma at the end of it instead of a period after 28.
Good catch.
But it's the copy edits.
That's a specialized skill.
Definitely not one that I have.
Thank you, Faith, for a good job on this as usual.
Is everybody chimed in? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept? I just take an open.
We have to vote.
We will roll call.
You have to do a roll call because he's on.
We already had the motion.
Yeah.
Okay. So do I need to do the roll call again?
Yep.
Okay. So in order to do this, I'm going to ask for Kay Cahill.
Yes, I vote yes.
Erhard Gregg.
Aye.
Thank you. Jay Fialkov.
Aye.
Megan Small.
Aye.
Joshua Small.
Aye.
Rob Pettit.
Aye.
Myself, Michael O'Neill. Aye. The motion passes unanimously. That's good. That's one down.
Michael,
Yes, sir.
one easy way to do that is all those in favor say aye, or those opposed say nay.
I thought because with Rob not there,
Well,
we couldn't do
well,
that.
just to remind folks as we go through, like, so I will call your name, all those in favor say aye, all those opposed say nay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
noted. All right, next up on the agenda is the director's report. Rob?
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
So just starting with some highlights from the children's department. The holiday vacation week was, we were quite busy and had two really successful programs. Rosalita's Puppets and the preschool Palooza story time. Those combined, over 200 people attended those programs. Really nice. Moving on to technology archives department. There are a couple of projects going on I want to bring your attention to. Last week, we met with Tamara Gatos. She's the consultant we hired to do the archival assessment project, which is funded by Library State Aid for this fiscal year. So has a lot of experience doing this. She worked for the Peabody Essex Museum for a number of years.
Great.
And she did a similar assessment for the town of Newbury. So we had a good meeting with her to explain, show her our archives and talk about the progress that Danielle has made over the past couple of years with digitizing and organizing. And so she now understands what our goals are. And so her report, which will come at the end of March, will present us with some guidance on short-term and long-term or medium-term goals for our next steps in being good stewards of the archives. So that's.
And her name is in here? I'm just
It's
looking.
Tamara.
Oh, it's Tamara?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have Tamara on staff.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
She's pronounced whatever I just said.
Tamara.
When I think about it, they're all confused. Yes, so
So this is not our Tamara on staff, Tamara on staff. This is the consultant's name.
yes.
And, okay.
So the priority item on the FY26 action plan for this was to do the work of hiring somebody. So we're moving beyond that and having them actually complete the work this fiscal year so that we can use that report to inform the creation of the FY27 action plan. So we can just build on that momentum and keep going. The couple items below that, the historical newspaper digitization is underway. Databank IMX is the company that is doing all that work. So they did some samples for us, which were fine, and we had the BPL check them. And so they are now digitizing hundreds of years of Needham newspapers.
Wow, great.
So it's really exciting to remember that we had a generous donation last year to fund this project to make this possible. So we look forward to it being done.
And there's a way, when that's done, to put something on the website to have a special place for people to have access to those archives?
Yes, yeah, it'll be accessible through the Internet Archive, but they'll host it, but you'll have access to
Oh, I
the
see.
website too.
Okay.
We won't host it. It's
a
lot.
Okay.
It'll be hosted.
It's
Where
By
would
the
it be
Internet
hosted?
Archive?
It would be
through
hosted,
the BPL will,
the BPL.
ingest and upload
Mhm.
our files to
Okay.
Internet
But we'll be able to go on.
for free. We just have to pay for the digitization of this. So that is very exciting. So until that project is complete, all of those newspapers are not here and not available for our patrons to use. But their absence is short term and it's a big long term gain for them.
I would imagine there'd be much greater level of use once they're in digital. I mean, school kids could do research projects about Needham and like just.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Do they ever get used?
Yes, they do.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people use them looking for obituaries, or they're looking for a particular news article or picture that they remember being published. So yeah, we've had a few requests for them recently. Had to tell them, unfortunately, we have no access to our microfilm at this point, because that went too.
When they're,
Film is gone now.
Microfilm is gone. That is one of the things that they're digitalizing, and they took also, I believe, the hardcover, hard copies of it, because not everything was put on microfilm.
do you know if as part of the digitizing, they're creating metadata that has
It's supposed to
descriptions
be
of
able
the
to
content,
be searchable.
to find it?
Yeah,
Find
and
things.
they're applying OCR, so optical character recognition, so search capabilities across entire issues is
Good.
Yeah.
easy.
It'd be a heck of a lot easier than what we've been dealing with now.
Remember those microfiche.
So we're really excited about that project that Danielle's taking lead on. Under community engagement, this is a nice beginning of a partnership with Celebrate Preschool. They've started to offer a free monthly preschool story time conducted by their teachers. I believe the first one was about colors. The first one was about barnyards. The second one held this past Saturday was on colors. So.
And Celebrate, is that a local, I don't know, is Celebrate a local preschool in Needham, is that?
The location, I'm not sure, but they are local, but I'm not sure if that
Is this like on a weekend or is this weekday?
Yeah, Saturday morning.
A Saturday morning?
Which is a nice,
Nice.
we're not
They're
as staff
They're on Wells
on
Ave.
the weekend.
They're on Wilson, okay.
What's the duration of the partnership?
So it's a few months, and then we'll reassess, but they've already talked about
Probably just
coming back to help us with
We're
the
closer than
end of summer reading
Wells Ave.
celebration. We're doing
I think
that.
Nice.
Under personnel, there's a number of items. So tomorrow afternoon and all day Friday, we're interviewing some of the 132 people who applied for the full-time circulation assistant position. Since we posted that, we've hired Kelsey to be our part-time children's reference librarian. So we now have 2 full-time circulation assistant positions, and we're looking to hire 2 out of the 8 people we are interviewing. So it's been a lot of work, and hopefully we'll get them on board as soon as possible.
I hope you're not trying to interview 100 and whatever people.
No, just we did the top 10, and then I think we're interviewing 6. So,
Yeah.
So, yep, an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah. That's great.
Reading 132. We really want to give a shout out to the circulation department, who are down 2 full-time staff members, and especially in the evenings, Monday and Tuesday nights, they're short for now. So everybody's been chipping in and helping out. So hopefully in a month or so, we will be back to operationally staffed in the circulation department.
We might talk about this in the budgetary stuff, like in the next section, but does overtime for those staff members make a difference in terms of the budgetary versus the not having the full-time people? Like, does it balance out, or is there contingency for having extra overtime for needing people to cover extra shifts?
So when you're saying overtime, are you saying that it's 2 words or 1 word?
I'm saying that as one word, like people who are working extra, I'm assuming.
We don't have overtime.
We do not,
We do not have overtime.
even for people who work more than 40 hours a week, or whatever this, that's.
There's no overtime here.
So just a
So
flat rate?
part-time people are taking on extra shifts.
Mhm.
On a rolling basis, they cannot exceed 19.5 hours over a 6-month rolling period. Otherwise, it triggers benefits.
Gotcha.
So we track time hours closely, because you can never average more than 19.50 hours over the past 6 months. So if somebody's normally works 12 hours a week, they can pick up an extra 7 hours to help us out. So people have been doing that, and because we're not paying the salaries of these other people who aren't here, we can use that money to,
Right, so it
to pay
balances,
them.
so it balances out basically.
Yeah. We probably, maybe not. So we'll see. But if we return more than 3.5% of our salaries or our expenses to the town at the end of the fiscal year, we had to explain why to the finance committee and to the town manager. So we had to do that this year for salaries because we returned like 8.5%. We had 11 vacancies last year. So up until what occurred in the past couple months with a flurry of promotions and resignations, we weren't going to be there, but now we may. And it's all fine. It's not like they, because we have a solid reason and explanation as to why we are doing so. If everybody was here, and we're returning 4% of our salaries, there would be a greater conversation as to why do you then need that money moving forward over time, which is what I thought you were referring to.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Please let the circulation staff know how much we appreciate their extra efforts.
If we could get that in the record, that would be great.
While during this time.
Thank you. So Kelsey started the Monday after the New Year's Day as the part-time reference librarian. So we're really excited for her in that position. She is in school to get her master's degree, and so children's is what she wants to do, not so much circulation. So we're happy to have her in that position. We had a posting for a technical services part-time position close on Friday. We had 70 applications for that part-time non-benefit job. So those applications have been reviewed, and those chosen will be interviewed next week. So also that department, when we get to the table of what's been added to the collection, you'll note the large number of items added in December. That is while the department is down this 19.5 hour staff. So it's quite a nice achievement that they got all that done.
So the technical services assistant, does that person report to Danielle? Is that
To Tamara.
Oh, just Tamara.
Yeah. So yeah, Danielle's our technology library and archivist. Technical services is cataloging and processing. So everything we order comes to them, and they unbox it, catalog, they roll the evidence, and do the processing. It's a constant confusion between the two. And that position is open because Luann retired and Andy was promoted to that position, which opened up this position. And then last week, Emily Poutre submitted her resignation. We hired her as a part-time person in our circulation department, and a year ago she moved to be a children's reference librarian. So she's moving on to a full-time position in a nearby library. And so we wish her the best.
We hear this story over and over again about our part-time employees.
This was a story
who we value.
in October.
At some point, we talked about raising that as far as our the staffing situation. Whenever it seems appropriate to start dealing with the town about that.
Yeah. Yes, that's interesting. But just so you know, I am always raising it with with the town. And
the reliance on part-timers who are, always
Not so
they're
much,
looking
you
for
know,
a full-time job,
The
right?
relative breakdown of at Needham of part-time versus full-time compared to other areas, Rob had prepared a very useful comparison chart, and
and then the retention issue.
That's right.
As a result of retention.
Our part-time reference librarians need to have a master's degree or be in a program to complete such a degree. And usually if you're putting in that sort of time and money into that degree, you're not looking for just a part-time position. So we just see this churn on a regular basis.
And up until now, I think we've decided not to confront it with the town in terms of a budget request that allows us to, reorient the percentage. I don't know, when it would be a good time. The next request, we're going to be asking for the children's work, but it's, maybe even little by little or something. There's a way to, include that in our requests. I don't know what anyone thinks about that.
Rob, did you have something to say? Rob Pettit? Did you want to
as I think Jay referenced, I'd done just a quick review of MBLC statistics. The last ones that I reviewed were FY22, so they're a little old, but we were definitely, communities varied significantly in terms of part-time staff as a percentage of full-time equivalent employees. We were definitely in the higher end, significantly in the higher end compared to our peers, but I'm happy to run that review for FY25 once those numbers are up on the MBLC site. If we're going to the town or to FinCom and requesting kind of an overhaul of how we staff things, which, I think is certainly worth looking into given all of the turnover issues that we faced. We'd want some sort of third party study or review or analysis to stand behind it. As well as, hopefully we can, and I think we've discussed this at past meetings, having some sort of list of all of the turnover of folks who have left in the past few years to pursue full-time opportunities, and that will help to quantify what the cost is to the town for running all of these searches, for training up, and, hopefully people will realize what the benefit is then.
Thank you, Rob.
Is that easy enough to go back to collect that information, or is that a burdensome? I don't know how big a job that is. No, okay.
Can I just add to that? I think that's a really nice use of our time and expertise as trustees to actually develop that kind of a study that looks at that cost over time, such that we can, as citizens, come to the town and be like, this I think makes sense to me as with a trustee and a taxpayer, that this is how we should be going about our staffing in the library.
It just sometimes seems that we are having to reload a lot in these various positions, but what we're discussing is definitely something, I think, like you were saying, to say we should further it and kind of bring that to the forefront when we are doing a due diligence and making sure that the library is fully staffed. We obviously have a pool of candidates, but the most important thing is to retain the candidates that we have.
Yeah, but I also think that strategically we'll be in a better position if we can offer it as a practical solution in which we run those numbers.
Yeah.
Rather than just saying, we'd like another full-time person.
Yeah.
And taking into account also the staff time in terms of all the hiring process, but, because.
How much of our director's time is used up with,
Right, and onboarding and how much time
All
it
that
takes
stuff.
for people to get ramped up into it.
I guess the one question that I have, and I don't know, I think this is probably 2 steps down the road, is do other peer libraries, even if they have a different ratio of part-time to full-time, have the same issues that we do of part-timers leaving to go on to full-time positions, or do they just happen to have stable part-time people? Like, I'm not saying people are unstable, but you understand what I'm saying? Like yes, they have 60 part-time or 60 full-time and 40 part-time, and make 60% part-time and 40% full-time, whatever, it doesn't matter what the number is. Are those 40% that are part-time the same 40% part-time that they've had for 10 years, and they just happen to be stable part-timers? Or is it like we are, where our part-timers keep turning over?
Or probably a combination even.
But I think it's also something like, if we're gonna go to the town and say, hey, these other towns, for whatever reason, even though they have less part-timers than us and they're more stable than us, it might make sense for us to figure out a way to make it more stable, even for our part-timers too.
But another way is it standard to require the masters for part-time? Or is that something that we do?
Our reference librarians are required to have a master's or be in a
Right.
program to get one.
Mm-hmm.
And so the part-time employees at the circulation department or pages, we don't have that requirement.
Okay.
So the reference department and the children's department are staffed by reference librarians, whether they're full or part-time.
And that's a pretty standard requirement as far as with Wellesley and Weston and Newton and Concord, peer libraries.
Reference librarians are, yes, have.
Even part-time, like part-time and full-time.
Yes.
Okay.
I think there's an argument to be made that it's just kind of inherent that if there are these standards and educational requirements, even for part-time positions, then, by necessity, if you're taking all of that time and expense to get a master's or whatever the certification is, you're going to want to turn it into a full-time position eventually, regardless of which library you're at.
Of course, yeah.
And listed at the end of personnel is just some meetings I attended to over the course of the past month. I'll talk more about meeting with the finance committee in a bit. I just wanted to bring your attention. I shared an email that we sent out to Rep. Tarski after we met with him. He spent over an hour with us at Bagel in Medfield. It's our go-to place with them. Nice place. So it was a really good time to talk to him, tell him about our concerns about issues at the State House, and also what we're going through and how the kind of slowing economy is affecting us, more so in Medfield than here.
How is the slowing economy affecting Medfield? Yeah.
They, the budget's not passed, but the director was asked to create a budget that would eliminate Sunday hours.
I see.
So a lot of cities and towns across the state are in a position where libraries are making cuts.
So those two bills that I would encourage all of us to, if we could do the same and reach out to our state reps. The two bills that you shared with us are, I can't cite them at the moment, but they look like important things for us to support.
Yeah.
So one has to do with ebook licenses, which we've talked about in the past, and so that
How they're getting more and more expensive, right, and taking up a bigger portion of the budget.
yeah, and just all those issues. The other one is, and that's been before the State House for several years in different iterations. The other one, the freedom to read, is newer, and it's in response to what we've seen across the country and here in Massachusetts over the past recent years.
You would put some further restrictions on banning books, is that correct?
It wouldn't allow
Would not allow banning
banning
books.
based on partisan.
Is there, Rob, is there a carve out in that bill, do you know, for hate speech?
I'll have to look into that, but do you mean if we had hate speech in our collection and
Right, if somebody said, well, here's a book that has, and the book has some very hateful, hate speechy, insightful contents. I'm just wondering, that bill might wade into some difficult waters because you have to draw lines at some point as to, what is free speech and what is, hate speech that you wouldn't want getting into the library.
the information I supplied, I can review it again, but I believe it says it prevents political or partisan banning of materials, not the reconsideration or removal for other reasons.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not that you can't remove it, period. It's just that it can't be for partisan or political reasons.
Right, you can't say, please remove this book. I don't like this group of people and I don't want my children reading about it.
Right, okay.
Will
But
we,
certainly seems worth supporting.
I'll specifically look into your question about the carve out.
were we impacted in any way when the court, reinstated those IMLS streams, because that had been defunded and then it was sort of put back into effect. Does that affect us in any way?
It's good news, but the cuts for this fiscal year were made, so the attention now is on the the new budget the federal government's putting together and the money in that for IMLS. So what's
luck.
happened is water under the bridge.
Got it, okay.
Okay.
But it was absolutely fantastic news. One of the most important stories for libraries this
libraries.
year. Probably along with the firing of the Librarian of Congress.
Yeah,
And, and then today, I saw it was also sent out to the trustees email list. Marie Amiot, the director of MBLC, sent out the legislative agenda for this State House, the budgetary requests. So they're highlighting state aid to public libraries and the 5% increase as their request. So that's that money that comes directly to us that we come up with a plan to spend every dime of every year. So, so it's nice to see them again push that as the priority. Moving on to the team room expansion renovation. So things are moving along quickly, so much so that in about 5.5 weeks we'll be at substantial completion.
fantastic.
Tower construction will be done and gone, and the shelving will be installed, followed by the furniture being installed, followed by us librarians getting to get in there and put the collection on the shelves and train our staff and get everything all ready. So probably in the last half of March, we'll open the space to the public. So probably in the next couple of weeks, we'll firm up that time period and start planning a party with cake.
Okay.
Just cake, nothing else, just cake.
Yeah.
So we're sitting in there by ourselves.
No plates.
Just
Librarians jumping out of cake.
Yeah. So
Cake's in the shape of.
so that's pretty exciting. So it started on September 2nd, and here we are just less than just about a month and a half away from at least tower construction being done. So about 4 weeks, the construction wall is coming down. It won't be complete, but the wall's coming down and they'll put paper on the glass, inside on the glass, so people won't be able to peek in and
No.
see. But it is, the end is in sight, so that's pretty exciting. And it is on budget, well on budget. Well on budget. Not so much on time. We're a few days behind, but we're looking to recapture a day or two with the delivery of the shelving and installation of the furniture. So there's nothing alarming. We're not, a couple weeks or a whole month behind schedule. It's just a couple of delays related to.
So there are other contractors who do that part of it, install the shelving, et cetera.
Right, UTL, the architects are in charge of like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so they work with the shelving company and the furniture company, and so Nicole will be on site and they'll take over with that. So it's coming. It was funny. I shared this news last night. The Friends had their board meeting, and one of the members said, "You're inviting the governor, right?" So,
Well, we want
sure.
We should think big, right? About who would invite, they'd all be happy to be associated with such a nice.
Invite Auchincloss to show up. He might actually. He comes to the district a lot, actually. I've been to a couple of things.
I would think we should be able to attract the.
We just did that ribbon cutting for the children's hospital.
Yeah.
I think we could probably do something similar.
Yeah.
So we're.
You mean Auchincloss?
Well, there was a.
So Katie was there.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Our state rep has been using us as a site for his new teen group. that
Oh.
he's been organizing. I could not accommodate him because of the book sale this month.
Oh, no.
But I told him to give me the dates and I will see about scheduling him in the future.
Talking about Josh
Yes.
Tarski.
John Karski,
Josh
Josh Karski, yes. I told him we're happy to do it for him.
Oh,
Yes,
good.
He liked us, he liked the area, and that we're in a good position for him.
I'm sure Becca will come too.
Yeah.
She lives like 2 minutes that
Mhm.
way.
Oh, really?
We
My
post-
daughter,
we posted stuff for Becky here too.
my daughter used to babysit for her.
So, yeah, we are getting ready for
Yeah.
to show everybody this great new team. So moving on to financial reports. So the trust fund report is attached, and we just about finished up the spending for the calendar year 2026. That trust fund report is in your.
Mhm.
One of the items on the trust fund report that is later on the list of gifts is that large check of $29,000 that's been deposited into the permanent donation fund. That's from the Friends and is about half of the funding they approved for the library for calendar year 2026. So this spring they'll give us the second payment. So
They could add it up to what, $60,000, right?
I'm sorry,
The Friends contribution.
yeah, it was 62,000.
Yeah.
But now 67,000.
Yeah, okay, right. No, that's right.
But
Okay.
you can share that when we get there,
No,
right?
sorry.
Yeah, thank you to the Friends. That's wonderful.
The operating budget report is also here, and just want to review that quickly. Pretty on track with the spending of salaries at just under 47% expended halfway through the year. And our expenses 43.6%. You'll note that the materials were just a third of the way through that budget, so we have some catching up to do in these next 5 months with that spending. Thanks to the Friends and the trust funds, we relied a lot on those funds for July and August purchasing fire extinguishers. So
That's why expenses is below, only at about third, what you're saying? So expenses, the balance, oh, I see,
under the percent expended column,
percent expended, right?
you'll see that only 32% of the money we have allocated to spend on new materials has been spent
Okay.
so far. The other expenses, the 70% is not alarming because 68 or 69% of that, or 68,000 of that is our fee to belong to Minuteman. So we always pay that
I
in
see.
July.
Okay, I see.
So I'll just move on to the state aid report before circling back to FY27 operating budget request. So the state aid report for this meeting shows our expenditures of just over $6,000 in the categories that the trustees approved for spending for this fiscal year. And I shared with Rob. Did I share with all the trustees? I'm not sure. I'll send it to everybody tomorrow if I did not. But last week we met with the two liaisons from the finance committee, Joe Bruzzi and Carol Fischetti. And there was a request that we share the history of expenditures from library state aid with the finance committee. So he did so for FY24, 25, and the first half of 26. So it's not just the spending plans approved by the trustees, but the actual expenditures. So that information's been shared. And so I'll share it with Rob, and I'll share it with the trustees tomorrow. So
Did they share what it is their interest is in that, you know, what in particular why they wanted to know that?
Well, I think we are maybe one of the only few departments that has access to regular funding from whether it's the state, the funds, or our trust funds.
Mhm.
And so when they're evaluating, making tough decisions about operating budget requests, and there's been a conversation in the past, the finance committee and the trustees about library state aid specifically and the use of those funds. I think there's just an interest in knowing
How we
if the
spent, they
spending
want to see.
plans are coming to fruition.
Oh, I see.
Are these situations where they sometimes start off with state aid with the notion that if they become more commonplace and necessarily required, it would shift into a different budget other than state aid?
I mean,
That's all.
we've definitely, oh, sorry. There's a little bit of a lag, so I didn't mean to interrupt, but we've definitely articulated that to FinCom in the past, and we actually passed some sort of a policy a few years back on how state aid should be used with that concept that a trial or extraordinary items and not for ongoing planned operational expenditures.
Because
I don't,
that's information that's also worth collecting to know to what extent the state aid money had value in terms of getting something new and useful off the ground.
Or if the state aid continues to be used for
Right.
operating expenses.
I think
So,
I think the requests really had to do with, you know, when we submit DSR fours for new kind of ongoing expenditures, to the extent that it's a new program, I think that, you know, the state aid informs their decision-making process for those new items.
So, since I started talking about the FY27 operating budget requests, I'll just transition from the state aid report to that.
So just one last note on the state aid, it is by state statute up to the board of trustees to decide how that's spent.
Yes, and it can only be
Yep.
spent in support of the library.
Right, and it's, you know.
Yes, but you can see the argument from the town that money is fungible, so
Yeah.
even though we choose to spend it the way we choose to spend it, they may say,
They can take away.
Exactly,
other
correct.
funds, yes, right, that's exactly,
right. They can't tell us how to spend it, but
yes.
So we submitted our request in October and met with Katie, Dave Davison, and Liz in November. The budget's been submitted to the finance committee, and they've begun to have their meetings with each department to ask questions about those requests. So last Wednesday night, Rob, Diane, and I attended their meeting and talked about our FY27 budget requests. So just to remind you, our salaries for FY27 are increasing 0.82% over FY26. That may sound like we cut hours or let somebody go, but we have not. What happened was we hired 11 people last fiscal year who were hired at lower salaries than they replaced. So everybody is getting a step increase in their longevity payments in the FY27 budget that was presented. So that is a small increase. Our expenses are increasing 3.4% over FY 2026. So the total increase in our base budget, base is just how much it costs to do what you're doing this year, nothing extra, is 1.3%, which is, in my mind, pretty affordable when the town is talking about an overall 5% increase to the town's budget. So we presented that budget. We also presented our 3 DSR 4 requests. Priority 1 item was presented last year, and that was related to salaries for us to hire a part-time teen librarian to work Monday, Tuesday, Thursday evenings, and every Saturday to support the new teen room that's opening this spring. We again presented that and made the case for the importance for that to individual should be funded, and that person be hired and start this summer. There was one question or a note that technically the library could use library state aid to pay the salary. I confirmed that technically we could, but
It's not generally the trustee's choice. It's not to pay salaries out of the state aid.
it's also a terrible precedent to set. You never want to hire somebody on soft money.
our priority 2 DSR 4 form was also one we submitted last year, which was not approved, and that was to request the town pick up the annual maintenance and hosting fee related to the town library's website. It's $4,835. So we had that discussion again about this request. So, you know, to the point I think Jay or Rob just made is that we are moving forward with DSR 4s for items that start out in library state aid, are successful, and become essential to our operations. So if not approved this year, it's coming back next year and the following and the following.
I'm just not sure if that's information that the FinCom didn't specifically ask for that, but that might be relevant to what they're looking for in terms of. Right, they requested information about state aid.
Right. Yeah, that was before this meeting.
In regards to that second DSR 4 about the website, there must be a historical reason that the library website is separate from the town website.
Yes, there is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's probably a 2-volume history to be written on that.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Well, we were there,
in
it's
a
not so long
nutshell.
ago.
In a nutshell, you wanna?
Well, you know, I don't know how long ago it's been when, you know, we sort of made an evaluation that the library's website, which was part of the town website, was really not of the quality that other libraries had. And we worked with the town to allow ourselves to hire an outside company to create a
better website.
a better website.
It was funded by the foundation and the Friends.
And the Friends.
And that allowed us to move very quickly during COVID because the website project happened exclusively, you know, in a multi-month period during early COVID when the library was shut down.
Let's just say that using the town website during COVID was an absolute disaster for the staff. As the person who had to keep up the front page on that, it kept getting longer and longer and longer because we had no other place to put the information. And just getting stuff up there was,
Gotcha.
it was a
I
nightmare.
think what we found out when we were talking to peer communities was that, you know, library websites are almost always developed separately from the town websites because there's so much plumbing and unique pages and dynamic pages with events and updates and things that are happening that, you know, other departments may not have quite as many updates and dynamic content. And that was the reason for a separate website, was that it's just a very different animal from your typical town website.
So in relation to the annual maintenance fee, that follows.
Gotcha.
Someone at town hall remembers that the library agreed that the Friends would forever pay that annual fee.
Rob, this came up in the Friends meeting yesterday, that, you know, annual service fee. And I was trying to remember sort of what our understanding was. There was, I saw one correspondence going way back in which the Friends sort of indicated that they were going to pay for, you know, the initial costs and cover the annual thing. I don't know that we'd really focus because the truth is it sort of feels like the annual service fee for the website is the sort of thing that appropriately should shift to become part of the town's regular budget, the same way I was thinking about with what happens sometimes with the state aid projects. But, you know,
I don't think there was ever an indefinite pledge or anything like that on behalf of the Friends. There was certainly support in some prior years, but also we just didn't know how many hours it would be and whether that number of hours would go up or go down.
And how in the end it turned out that it was a great benefit for the town that we did all this. But my
You got the
impression is
town-
though that the town perhaps is sort of taking the position that they shouldn't have to cover that annual service fee because they had been told that they wouldn't have to. And I would hope that they would perhaps reconsider that under the circumstances.
Well, the website's brought a pretty significant benefit to the town at no cost. And, I think there's certainly a good argument to be made, whether it's this year or in future years, that a very modest update fee is the benefit is much more significant than the cost. And it is an ongoing predictable cost, so it's not properly paid out of state aid.
So I just provide that context to explain why this small expense may not as easily move over as one may expect.
Yeah, that is right. There's a history.
Our last DSR4, which is priority 3, is to move the cost for lib staffer, which is $1,300 a year. It's our subscription over to the operating budget. Lib staffer is our tool we use to schedule the 48 library staff members and manage their requests for time off. And it is how we know where to show up every single day.
It's an integral part of the operation.
Yes, yeah, and it's successful. So the library introduced it in 2024 and has paid for library state aid, including this year. That's a new DSR4 we presented this year.
Okay.
And that's obviously an example of a successful use of library state aid.
Yes. Yeah. We could not do without it now.
Yeah.
We could, but it's so efficient now. It would be such a waste of time to go back to the old sheets.
Good choice.
So including the DSR4s, our request is just a 2.96% increase over FY26. So we're still at a good number below that 5% increase that the town might see in its budget. So
They specifically request to all the departments to stay at or under 5%.
now the request was submit a budget that is level service. So that's better than level budget, but it's level service, no new stuff. Just the cost for doing what you are doing, which is our 1.3% base budget. Our extras are the DSR4s.
So if that's the case, if they've requested amongst all the departments a level service, where are they expecting the 5% increase townwide to come from? Did they say?
And I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how that breaks down.
I mean, some of that's going to be personnel
Yeah, I understand.
step increases. Some of that's going to be maintenance.
And benefits.
Right. I guess my question then is, our personnel increase request is, I think, 1.3, I think you said, right?
Personnel is under 1%.
Right, so
We had particular circumstances last
Okay.
fiscal year.
because of the nature of the dip that we had, yeah. Okay.
Finishing up the director's report, our DIB staff efforts are listed here by department, including our table showing occurrences of DIB occurrences and the titles that we added to the collection in December. The last report is that new and withdrawn report that I referenced earlier. December, the new books or new materials added total just over 1,400, which is almost twice as what was added in November. So you may remember, I believe earlier this fall, I let the trustees know that Baker and Taylor went out of business. They're one of the two big book jobbers in the country, Ingram and Baker and Taylor.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of
we had
shocking.
already been working with Ingram, so we had an account in place, and so our transition was much smoother and quicker than other libraries. But Ingram is just inundated now and
Yeah.
is having some trouble in getting things to some libraries quicker because they need to hire more people. So that is also part of why you see December being so much more than November. So, yep.
Struggling to get up to speed.
I mean, I imagine there's some unknowns around the budget there, right? Because I don't know what the switching costs were in terms of overall expenses attached to Ingram versus Baker and Taylor. I also don't know if we're going to see shifts in pricing so that Ingram can scale up and also they're in a monopolistic position and so they can increase rates overall and how that might affect our budget projections.
So one thing our selectors did earlier this fiscal year was to add some new vendors to our selection, specifically with children's and the teen collections. So we're working with new vendors, about 3 or 4 new vendors. But Ingram is part of the state contract that the Mass Higher Education, MHGC, puts together. So they're bound by the terms there and will be bound by future contracts, whether or not those terms in the future are what they are now. Is to be seen. The new contract is in the beginning of its period. So that's good, we'll see. But other companies have tried to fill the void, like Follett, and some others have been aggressive in letting libraries know that they can also provide mostly physical books to libraries.
So I can ask that we're talking largely physical materials, not digital materials, right?
Right.
For Ingram and.
Physical
Yeah.
books. So last part of the director's report is what I misnamed on the agenda as the monthly statistical report. Because December is the end of Q2, it's actually our quarterly, so it's a 2-in-1. You can see it's a monthly report if you only look at the December column, but it's our quarterly report. This is the draft that we had shared earlier in the fall with the trustees for what a quarterly report would look like. So things are going well this fiscal year. You can see our in-person library visits are just over 138,000. Whereas our website visits are 197,000. So we're on track to exceed 388,000 hits we had in FY25. Our circulation is strong. See that. And total programs offered in attendance. Even with the team project going on, our staff are still delivering for our patrons there.
Can I make 2 comments about like the layout of this? So I guess comment number 1 is I don't know. I mean, yes, it's helpful to have the monthly, whatever that end of that quarter is. I don't know that we need all the months in the quarter on there. Like, I don't know why we need a recap of October and November, especially because going forward, once we have full year data, there's probably gonna have to be a column for like a comparison to previous Q4 or previous Q3, whatever, like, and so then you're just gonna keep adding columns. It's gonna be a lot of columns.
Right. Once we get
but
year, right, we'll
we'll have to revisit that, but then it's gonna end up being 9 or 10 columns as opposed to what it is currently.
Yeah, this
6
is
already.
So in the future, what you might see in a packet is a monthly report and a quarterly.
Right, yeah. Right, so I guess that's my point. I guess if we don't need on this, since this is a draft anyway to discuss, I mean, yes, it's helpful to have the data for the draft, but I don't think we need the monthly data on the quarterly report. like those last three columns, especially if we're gonna be getting the standard monthly one that we've gotten the last couple of months.
And I would just say, thanks, Rob. This is really
Yeah.
readable and it's helpful. And I appreciate that you did, Q2 over Q1. In the future, once we have full year data that we can compare apples to apples, then, being able to see Q2 this year versus Q2 last year will be extra helpful. And that way we'll, to the extent there are seasonal variations that might account for, increases or decreases, we'll be able to see that. For here, it looks like circulation, there was about a 10% decrease in Q2 versus Q1, but seeing that against the prior year's Q2 will be helpful. But this is very helpful to look at.
If I could just pick up on your last observation, Q1 includes July and August, and our summer is our busiest time with summer reading. So
Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
I'll just naturally see that. But yes, with the comparison moving forward, we'll be able to show Q2 versus Q2. You said 2.
Yeah.
2 comments. Did you have a second?
Oh, the second one was big. The second one was similar to what Rob was saying, that once we have the data going forward,
Oh, okay.
there should be some sort of column, like a percentage, like change.
Percent change, yeah.
Yeah, percent change quarter.
Year over
Year over year, not quarter to quarter, because of the variations in the quarters.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Then a little fun thing I added in here was just our top 10 most borrowed adult titles.
Yeah, that was interesting.
So, the past number of years, wrapping has become a thing. So we're planning to join the wrappers in a more substantial way next fall. So we're working on that now. We came late to it, and we shared this along with some other lists with our staff. But we'll be doing the work to make sure we have some fun wraps we can share with patrons, and which is always, people love lists, and they also like to know what their neighbors are reading. And
They do, yes. I'm feeling out of the loop because I've only read 2.
I'd only heard of one of those books. My wife had heard of all of them.
So, and going forward, we did others, so I'll forward them all to you if you're interested.
This is great. What do you need?
This is just adult. We have
Oh, okay.
teen and
I'd
children's
like to see that on the
ebooks,
list.
and I'll separate them, but
Nonfiction.
we didn't have the time to pull it out.
Nice.
Digital, but we will next year. Our wrap will be complete. So
These get sent out on social media.
we just shared these this year with staff informationally, but they weren't in a position to share with the patrons without there being questions about that. Or we'd be sharing 6 sets of lists that, so we want to do it well. Did that make sense? I just was thinking
You
what
want
I
to do
just.
you want to do a strategy around this, a media strategy
Right.
around this.
We were just sort of like, oh, look at everybody's doing raps, and then like, oh, I wonder what.
Okay.
So this was sort of like
This is the last minute thing.
informational, like, oh, isn't that interesting? But we want to do it intentionally next year for the public.
Got it.
Because it's fun and
To
interesting.
beta.
We kind of
Yeah.
came to it late and didn't want to put out something that was half
Got it.
done or.
Got it.
But I'll share that stuff with.
Thanks.
Okay, Rob, are you
Yes.
completed?
Oh, can I?
Go ahead.
Because I don't know where else I could say that. I just want to note some things for the trustees. One is that today we started offering free access to our patrons to bostonglobe.com.
Just got the email. Yeah.
So that's really exciting. So you can sign up and get 72 hours of free access to it. if
72 hours, like total per month or?
No. So if you sign up now, 72 hours from now, you'll just sign up again.
Oh, I see, okay.
Oh, so you have to sign up every 3 days.
Yes.
I'll just keep my subscription. Might as well support local journalism.
Yes.
But it is a way to have free access to it, which we also provide for New York Times, Boston Herald, and the Wall Street Journal. So we're excited. Minuteman on our behalf has been working with Boston Globe for a number of months to get to this day.
I didn't realize we didn't supply Boston Globe.
This is confusing. So we provided full text article access through ProQuest, not access to bostonglobe.com. So you could do a little Boolean search and pull up the full text of an article with no images, and it was not.
Yeah, and more
You
difficult.
would need to know what you're searching for.
There's
This
also
is
like a delay too. I tried doing it and you have to wait like months.
yeah. So we lost access to that because the IMLS cuts that occurred on July 1st. So this was became even more important but this is much more interesting than what our patrons had access to.
Well, it sounds great.
And it's access to the Boston.com website, not just the daily paper. Because sometimes like in the library, when you get access to a magazine or a newspaper, you're getting it page by page as compared to the way the website would look.
Online website.
It's the website itself. It's the
It's the website itself.
Yeah.
That's
It's the full website, it's
Yeah,
the
full
full
access.
newspaper, and you can search within that.
You can search the archive.
Articles,
You can
add
search
obituaries and
Yeah,
all of that.
great. That's
We'll
great.
still be receiving the paper copies,
Oh,
right?
God, yes.
Maybe,
Just be
maybe
aware
that'll,
that it is 500 total sign-outs at any given time for the whole network. So once they
maximum.
reach that 500 max,
that's how we do it.
you may have to go back in later and try again to see if you can get in. But 500
it's
people,
being launched with 500. We'll see how that plays out.
500 in Needham,
500 in
anywhere,
the network.
anywhere in Minuteman.
yeah.
Okay, so that's why you have to re-sign up every 3
Yes.
days.
Yeah.
Same thing with the
You
New
get
York
logged in.
Times, that has a limited number 2. So you may not always be able to get in there, but you will get in there eventually.
Yeah, but the institutional rates for New York Times have been much lower than Boston Globe for many years.
The Globe is very expensive.
very
expensive.
more expensive than Times.
Oh, much,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but support local journalism.
That's pretty expensive.
The next 2 notes are in relation to the February meeting of the trustees. Liz LaRossi, the new deputy town manager, was unable to join us at the December meeting, but will be joining us at the February meeting.
Oh.
And then
to work here, right?
yes, she was a
Yes.
reference librarian here back in 2017, 2018, that time period.
So she'll be joining us in February for any
To
particular,
meet you
just as,
and
okay.
to introduce yourself.
Yeah,
and
okay.
say hello.
Mhm.
I don't expect you to be bringing any bad news. So
Okay.
it'll be a good visit. The other item, I didn't mention this to Rob, but for the agenda for the February meeting, we'd like to add an FY26 action plan check-in. So we had a meeting last week to review where we are with our FY26 action plan. So we're creating a document that by the end of this month we'll share with all staff to show them our progress and what we have to get done before probably beginning of May. So we want to bring that information to you in February to give you that update. And Diana will be joining us to help with that in February.
If we have any things on our minds that we would like to see for the following fiscal year, is this time for us to communicate that?
Anytime is the time.
Anytime,
Yeah.
time.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Whether it's a call or email but this may, the juices flowing,
Yeah,
thinking
okay.
about FY27. We're already thinking about 27 and a lot in relation to completed work for 26 for some items and the natural extension of that work. So the last thing I just wanted to note, the Needham Educational Foundation Trivia Night, I think, is in March. We haven't received any communication about it, but I just wanted to remind trustees, there was a team last year that Josh and Erhard was part of, were part of.
It's fun.
team
It's
that
a fun
lost.
night.
We did okay.
Okay, yes.
We did okay.
We did okay.
But it was very fun. So I believe it was in March, so the communication about that may just come quickly. So just a
Be
reminder,
prepared.
and I think we had the friends pay for that, and there are funds set aside in our spending plan with them for this calendar year to cover that expense. Gail was on the team as
Yes.
well. I think had Andy from Tech Services with us.
And there were a few others that were there too.
Yeah.
I think I may have missed 1 or 2 years over the years with this, whatever, spelling bee or trivia.
It was fun. Lots of every school had a team of students.
Yeah.
It had a really nice community feel to it.
And, I should mention that we should, when we send in our application, 2 years ago when I sent it in, if the library puts in something fun and interesting facts about the library, it's actually a good moment to advertise the library of whatever it is we want them to know, because they're usually willing to announce the libraries.
An excellent time to announce the grand reopening of the teen room.
Oh, that's true.
Yes.
Yeah, especially
Have a
in
nice
March.
build up to that.
That's exciting.
That was the end of my addendum to.
Okay. Harold, were you asking a question?
Nope, just stretching.
All right, new business. Action item, what we have here is to, I'm voting to accepting the list of gifts. Is this part I just need to say all in favor?
You have to make a motion to, someone has to make a motion.
So,
Somebody, motion to
I
accept the
move
gifts?
for the trustees to accept the gift list.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
You have to do roll
Do
call,
roll
right?
call.
We still have to do roll call.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, because he's not there, okay. I tell you.
All right.
It's all right. That's the part that I missed because normally we just do that part. All right, KK Hill,
Aye.
Erhard Gray,
Aye.
Jay Fialkoff,
aye.
Megan Small,
Aye.
Joshua Small,
Aye.
Rob Pettit,
Aye.
myself, Michael O'Neill, aye. The minutes have, the gifts, list of gifts have been accepted.
Thank you to all of our gift givers.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you for, exactly, thank you. What's this other item with, Rob? The discussion of it's just the April meeting, Rob Pettit?
Yeah, I'm happy to speak to that really quickly. So there was some discussion about whether or not we should move the date of the April meeting. By way of background, our bylaws, specifically Article 3, Section 1 of our bylaws, provide that our regular meetings should be the second Tuesday of every month, except for the month of the town election, in which case it is the day or the evening immediately after the town election. So that allows everybody who's been reelected or elected as new trustee one business day to get sworn in at town hall ahead of the meeting. So I think the reason this was up for discussion was whether or not it poses a challenge to anybody. If you're working that day, then it can be a challenge to get sworn in, ahead of the meeting. And if you're not sworn in, then you can't attend the meeting as a trustee. There is a carve out under our bylaws that allows us to schedule regular or special meetings, just regular meetings at other dates, as long as it's approved at the prior meeting. So on a one-off basis, we can always say, as we have in the past, even though we normally do the second Tuesday, we can do a special date. For example, when we didn't meet on Veterans Day, I think it was. So I think that there's a couple of things to be discussed. First, whether or not we want to abide by that schedule this year or to push the meeting out by some period of time. And if the answer to that is yes, whether we want to do that on a one-off basis, which we can do just by taking a vote, or whether we want to make it permanent, which would require us to amend the bylaws. So that is really the background, and just figured we can open that up for discussion and thoughts.
I have one thought.
Go ahead.
So, in the past, the town clerk always reaches out to us and says that she will make a time if somebody has to get off work and can get to her by 6 o'clock before this meeting, she will swear new members in. So she makes herself available to do that, and I've done that.
I was gonna ask, is the meeting gonna take place potentially on the 21st as opposed to the 14th?
It could be the 15th if you guys decide to go the next night.
Okay.
I tentatively have something scheduled that night, but I've already told them that trustees take precedence and I will find another night for them.
And the default under our bylaws, if we don't take any other action, the default is that it will be the night immediately after the town election. So in this case, the 15th.
Okay.
So I'd like
It's
to.
that tax day though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Can I say two things? So number one, I think it's fine if we choose to change it this time. Number two, I don't think we should even consider discussing permanently changing the bylaws right now. That's something that we can add to an agenda item later on if that is something that needs to happen, but I don't think like getting into a large discussion on that right now. And then looking at April, the next week is vacation week. So, like, I don't know, there's gonna be a lot of people traveling.
Yeah.
Even possibly newly elected trustees. So I don't think we can push it to the next week.
So who's running again? It's Earhart, right?
Yes.
Earhart
And
I am.
and Michael.
And Michael. Okay, so you are the ones that are affected by it.
And Megan,
Just three.
And Megan? Oh, okay, so three of you. So to some degree, it's.
has anyone else taken out papers besides the three of you?
I haven't
Yeah.
taken mine out yet, so I don't know.
I've already taken in return.
Okay, good.
Well,
We put it up on Facebook and everything.
Well, I said I was running on Facebook,
Yes.
but I was out here collecting signatures instead. One reason to not delay too long is that we often are working on letters to town meeting. That we want to get passed in time to send to town meeting members, in time for the town meeting at the beginning of May. So I don't know how important that is for our goals this year, but that is one reason why it's nice to have a meeting that's pretty close to April 15th.
What about the week before?
But it'll have to be after the
It has
new
to be
election.
after the election.
Past the afternoon?
Because we are also then required to nominate and vote on new officers.
So I guess the question is, does it really buy any advantage if we had the meeting on the 16th versus the 15th?
Versus the 14th where it's already scheduled.
It can't be the 14th.
It's not?
It's currently scheduled 15th because that's in the
Well-
bylaws.
Oh, is it? I just have it wrong on my calendar.
Actually, I've got it on the 14th.
That's what I have it too,
Because
yeah.
that's what it always is,
Yeah.
but you always do change this. I will tell you that, as I said, I can definitely move what's already there on the 15th. On the 16th, I will talk to the group that's in here and get them moved if that's what you choose. But according to the priority listing I have for the community room, you guys come first. Everything else gets moved for you.
are people comfortable having a meeting on the same day that your federal income tax and stuff are? I don't know because
You gotta get to the post office before they close out.
Yeah. So, theoretically, we won't have any new people. I think it's, not necessarily.
I mean,
depends, right? I'll say.
it seems like more of a thing for new people. I found it very disorienting as a new trustee to
As did I.
immediately rush into a meeting and have no idea what I was doing and what was going on. And felt really just, didn't feel very comfortable with that being like the next day after being elected. So if we're unchallenged, I would think we'd be fine with it this year. It would take longer time to discuss it. I don't know. I'll get my papers tomorrow and see if anybody else.
Well, the benefit of getting your papers in is to the extent that might discourage somebody else from
Right.
putting their papers.
That's right.
Did you pick up yours, Michael?
No, I have to go down there and get them.
Okay.
You guys should make a time to go meet.
We have one really eager beaver and a couple of slower.
Gotta get it done before my teaching starts.
Okay. Anyways, that's my thought. I mean, I will be able to handle it should I be reelected. I don't have job issues during the day, so I can run in. Can't speak to everybody else, but this year I think it would be okay. But going forward, may want to consider.
Right.
But the timing of vacation it's.
Well, we can't do the next week as vacation.
Right,
correct?
right.
Right.
So it sounds like there might be consensus to keep it, the default this year is the 15th under our bylaws. So it sounds like the consensus is probably just to keep it that.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay.
I think we're trying to be positive that we're all three returning.
Yeah, it seems to me if the three people who are up for reelection are okay with it being on the 15th. It's probably our consensus.
All right. Should be good then with that item.
Okay. How about the old business discussion, team room policy, Rob, and myself? Gentlemen?
So I'll just start. In the packet was the team room rules and the draft policy again. Based on comments from the December meeting, I just presented the team room rules as you see here with just some language to describe where and how we would share the rules with patrons to help clarify that message.
So should we focus at this point in this discussion more on the wording of the policy, or do we want to go over the rules that have been as Rob just described? Or both?
We don't have any draft policy, right?
Right, we have the same policy. I mean, if we're going to vote on it, that's what we're going to be voting on.
I didn't think it was part of the agenda to vote on the policy yet. I thought wasn't the plan that the policy is to be voted on after the room opens? Or did we change that plan?
Yeah, I wasn't
That
saying we
was
were going to
one
vote tonight.
No, I understand.
No.
I'm just
Yeah, that was one idea that
yeah,
we open and see.
and see where it ends up.
Works, and then
I think we were
Another
trying to
idea, I
do the
think,
dry run.
I floated the last meeting, I'm not sure. And the retraction was approving a temporary policy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be good for us to have something in place, even if it's considered to temporary, a placeholder for when it opens, so that we can post some rules and.
I had one question about this draft. Are we talking about that now or no?
Yeah, can I just make one quick question? I mean,
Yeah,
comment based on what, so the rules were to help inform the discussion of the draft policy, just so that the trustees understood that it wasn't going to just be the Wild West without a policy, that these are rules that we will have in place and will enforce along with the patron appropriate behavior policy.
As of day one.
Yeah, so if the trustees choose not to have something approved in the last half of March when it opens, we will
These
have
will
the
still
rules,
be
and we still have the patron behavior policy.
I just think it's a good idea to have something in place just so that when it doesn't give room for people to kind of manipulate it, but also we have something kind of strategic, but also flexible, as opposed to, I know we had talked about kind of a wait and
Oh,
see,
okay, okay.
but the other part of it is we still need to have something. So when we start from the very beginning, people know that these are the things that we need to do or how they should help themselves. That's even like the teens as well as adults potentially using the space to have that. Say if the teen room was closed to the public and locked after at 2:00, there's no gray area for people to hang out and hang around. They have to be out, that kind of thing. So we know definitively, and it starts the, people are not kind of like trying to figure out a way to stay another 5 minutes. If you can't adhere to it, you can't come in here. So we want to make sure that we're one voice with that.
I'm sorry, I just had one question. The teen room is open during library hours after school and on weekends? So it's not open all the time?
Yeah, that's why this wasn't approved in October, because when we presented the draft policy, some trustees didn't realize that the locks on the two doors would be utilized, and that we were talking about a teen room for teens only. So we're having that discussion as to.
I think that was
if
the
that's-
meeting you missed, Jay.
Oh, so,
It was a
okay.
long discussion.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But I watched it afterwards. But
So
I
Doesn't
didn't.
have
Remember that discussion about?
It doesn't have the same effect watching it.
But I just, is this what was decided though, that it's gonna be?
No, this is
No.
nothing.
No.
No,
No.
just a discussion.
Okay.
Just a discussion,
All
no
right.
decision.
So there was a change made in that is reflected here that the trustees suggested, and that is, I believe, the last paragraph is in italics referencing that these other policies apply.
I remember that, but again, maybe I'm just confused, but is the teen room not gonna be open all the time when the library's open?
We don't have the staffing to keep that open all the time.
Got it.
So it's open for people who want to browse the collection.
Mhm.
I
So
mean,
that was the big hiccup, the big discussion.
acknowledging the staffing challenges that poses, just speaking personally, my proposed change to that sentence would be the teen room is open during library hours.
That's what I would think.
And I really, really wouldn't want to see the space locked. I think that after the community's investment in the room and the necessity for further phases, I think it's really important that the room be as usable and we really maximize its use, including during school hours.
I
And
agree.
I would hesitate to support a policy that results in the teen room being closed, especially right after it's opened up for the public.
So we don't have the
Not to
staff.
say that there aren't challenges, but I think that's something we have to solve for, just in my opinion.
Well, it's probably not gonna be used much during school hours, right? By teens.
You would be amazed at what we get for people coming in, and there are teens that will come in, they certainly can use the room. But specifically what we need to worry about is those 2 early release days that the school department has each year,
Right.
each month. One is grades 1 through 6, and the other is grades 1 through 12. We just had a 1 through 12 on a bad weather day, and it was
May.
a freak show here. We had well over 200 kids descend on us, including a whole bunch of roving kids. They trashed pretty much every table space we had. They were noisy, they were loud, they were rude. It was not fun for any of us during those few hours that they were all here. Now, this policy says grades 7 through 12 is what the room is for, and that is what you designed it for. You have a whole bunch of sixth graders that really have no place to go. Are you going to allow them into that space? Because that is not what that room was planned for, it's not what the books were bought for. So you need to make a decision on how open you are going to make that room.
Is that room going to be open for anybody on half days?
That's the problem. If it is, we're gonna have to put at least one, if not two people in that room during a half day. We don't have the staff that can do that. for the
Then we need to
buses.
fix that. That absolutely, in my opinion, should be open on half days. There's
It
nowhere.
will be,
So
but
the
we don't
current
have-
draft says that the team room is open during library hours after school and on weekends.
Yes,
So AFA would be open after
School.
school.
Tuesdays
Okay.
included.
half day is at 11 a.m., guys,
Yeah.
just so you know.
So if the space is open when the library is open, trustees just have to know we don't have the staff to,
I mean-
to make that policy effective.
I guess my question is there, and I will admit, I am not here generally during the day unless I'm getting books or whatever. But like, there are people that are here during the day using tables buried in the back of the stack somewhere, right?
People, do you mean?
Like
teams
patrons,
or-
no, patrons.
They're everywhere.
Right, so the point being is, if there's patrons using those tables in the back somewhere, theoretically teens or adults, why is that any different? Like if a teenager comes in and uses a table buried in the back of the fiction stack somewhere,
I agree with
why is that any different than a teenager using this room at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a non-school delay day?
What's the?
Like, I don't understand what the difference is.
you.
It's just tables, right? It's tables and chairs.
It's like this out in the
Like-
computer area. There are
Didn't follow
adults.
you.
Oh,
I think
So I guess my
the
question
is why do you need
my
someone
question
to
is, why is
supervise
it, my question about
What's the staff?
like the discussion about closing it, quote, it's open school, after school, whatever, and again, the rest of the library is open all the time to be used by patrons, and there are tables that there aren't staff looking at all the time when those tables are being used. Why is that any different? Like, I imagine as I said, I don't use it for that purpose personally, but I would imagine there are tables that are around the library that cannot be seen by staff members during the day, correct?
So the teen room was built for teen patrons.
No, I understand that.
So for the teen room to become something that's not a teen room, that's a change.
Right. So that's
So if it is a space that's open for all patrons, except for certain times when we have to go in and remove those patrons because teens are getting out of school, that's different. This was always a space planned for, designed for, exclusively for teen use because we're across the street from the high school. There's so many teens that come here.
Mhm.
They deserve a larger space than what was built 20 years ago. So just as part of the discussion, it's, I think, important for trustees to know that since September 2nd, we have not had substantial complaints from adults that they haven't been able to find a place to sit and study or read. That is happening with this footprint not being accessible to them.
So I guess one addendum that I would make to the teen room rules, that like not the policy, I don't want to discuss the policy right now, but to these 5 major rules that are gonna be posted all over the place, et cetera, is maybe just a 6th rule that says, if you're an adult, if you're over the age of 18 or whatever, pick a time, out of high school, this space is available for browsing, but not for using the tables. I mean, I'm not wording it right, but like, why can't you just put that as a rule?
I wouldn't want that.
I wouldn't want it because it's, as somebody who comes here pretty much every day, the hard part for me is that there are adults sitting at where the computer area is a great place to look at the ecosystem of the library. The kids can come and be around you all day long. They can play games, they can be noisy, they can be whatever.
Yeah.
But there's nothing designated for just adult use. And my thing is that what I've felt, or not feelings, I'm just saying is something in a pragmatic kind of way. Why wouldn't we utilize this space to its fullest for everyone in the community? Because everything in this community, in this library, is paid for by the community. So,
And I totally
but
understand.
I'm just saying that
I totally
the
understand.
other
I guess
side of it is that it's, if we do it that way and we exclude adults and we go to ask for money for other things, have at it. So it would probably be a lesson in futility.
Does it make sense to see if, assume for discussion's sake that we say the teen room is open during library hours? You're concerned about, the supervision and the staff. Does it not make sense to see if that is a problem in terms of, what you may need? Whether it seems like you're anticipating a problem in terms of being able to supervise it.
So that was one idea that was placed before the trustees this fall, that we open without a policy in place to see.
Or at least without a policy that says the room is locked.
With no policy, just the room rules.
So you're suggesting see what happens and see if adults actually then do use that space a ton and then at 2 o'clock have to be kicked out by library
Or
staff.
see if there's a reason why people are using it during school hours in a way that staff is not able to supervise, that causes trouble.
Or not anticipating.
Yeah.
Like, is that the concern? Is the concern is that adults are gonna have to use this, are gonna end up using the space, and then at 2 o'clock are gonna need to be kicked out? That's the big staff concern for right now?
The concern is having the teens of Needham know that there's a place for them at the library. Not a semi-space that, if they're homeschooled or they just happen to be at the library when school's in session, that they are in there sitting next to somebody who's reading the financial.
But if they're homeschooled, they can't use this space during the school
They
hours.
could, because we could get them in.
Well, not according to this, it's not open during school hours.
It's gonna have to be open for browsing purposes, which means they're coming to the reference desk and asking to have it opened up so they can look for something.
I think
But if there
I
are
think
no
that
rules-
would represent a state of, again, if we're having the room closed for, a couple dozen hours a week, and the only way to get in there and browse the collection is to go to somebody and have them unlock it for you, I think we're putting up barriers, frankly, to access collections. If you're a parent and you want to pick up a book in the teen collection for your kid, you're going to be less likely to do that if you have to go up and get the room unlocked and you're troubling somebody. Which
So
again,
we have the knowledge room, guys. That is permanently locked. You need permission to get in there.
Well,
Probably
that might be a little different. I mean, is the genealogy room really used as often as the teen room is going to be used for browsing?
right? I think that
So daily, we will use that room. I can also tell you that because we have a lack of actual study rooms, you can look. A lot of people look at that room very longingly and want to use it for that purpose. It is not something that we use it for that purpose. I will tell you that if the teen room is open during the mornings, for anyone to go in there, I can guarantee you that we're gonna be having a lot of people having meetings in there. And other things, and we do not have a clear view into that room. There is only just a few windows, guys. We don't, it's not
Sounds like
all
a design.
glass bubble like.
I have a
previous
question
was.
when I can.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
thank you. I would like to hear, if we were, the trustees were to enact policy which allowed patrons, all patrons to go to use the teen room when to set up specific hours for patrons to be able to use that space, which in my mind is a very large central area that the public has always been able to use, and I don't want to exclude them from it, except during the specific teen hours. What if we were to move forward with allowing all patrons to use it during the non-teen hours, during school hours? Are there, does the staff feel like there are rules or restrictions or guidelines that would help be able to manage that situation?
No.
No.
I think what it comes down to is you're gonna have to have a staff member in there babysitting that room.
We don't have the
We
staff.
don't have it to do it.
It's there now and it's,
We don't. So, the DSR4 we put forward again for FY27 with the, allows us with this language about weekends and after hours to do this. So I just also,
Sorry.
I just want to say the children's room policy, the trustees approved this fall is the team room policy, except we have designated staff in there every hour we're open. So the same thing applies. Adults are not allowed in there unless they're actively browsing the collection. They're asked to relocate and not be in the space without a child. So it is the same policy, except that the doors don't lock. We keep them open because we have that space staffed every hour open. It would be the same thing if we didn't have the children's room staffed. Those doors would be locked. So I just want to.
Yeah, but I think there's two distinctions. So distinction number one is the children's room is not in the main open area of the entrance to the library. You have to just deliberately go there if you're coming into the library. You can't just get there from the main door when you come in. I think the other thing is people aren't going to use that for meetings because A, there's little kids there all the time, and B, the tables aren't appropriate for it. They're not adult-sized tables in there. So people aren't going to be setting up there. Adults aren't going to set up there to do work because there's not adult-sized tables.
But it is the same policy, just to let you know.
I understand, I hear what you're saying. It is a similar policy. I personally am not on board with that particular policy. I would like to allow more access to our general patrons.
And I don't understand why you think you would need to be babysitting adults who are in the space.
You would be amazed at what some of those adults are doing on the tables.
I might be.
It is a space designed and built for our teen patrons. And we do have teens here in the library, using the library when high school is in session. So you're talking about opening a space to adults to come in and use the space.
But that's the part I don't
next to
understand.
teens.
You said there are teens who want to use that space while the school's in session?
We have teens currently in the library.
Right.
So then what does this mean?
Open campus means that they can come out of the school and go anywhere they would
That's
like.
not his question.
So, but if this says it's open after school, it's not open during the day when they have open
The
hours?
liberal part of it,
I
you're
don't understand.
absolutely right, but it's just doesn't.
Right, but you want it open when the library is open, so everybody will be in there, an adult sitting next to a teen.
Well, I think that's a different question.
Well, that's what you posited as the change to the draft.
I'm more concerned about you saying that it's an open schedule so that teens are gonna wanna go into the teen room, but it's during school hours.
So I guess your question, are you saying that during school hours, teens can come to the reference desk and say, hey, I want to use the teen area
Sure,
without supervision?
we would know that they were in there, and believe me, someone would go take a look.
Yeah, so it would depend on.
So that's why this is not accurate, really, because it says it's only open during
We could-
library hours after school.
I think you need
Every
a
policy
comma.
has a gray area, and for us to note, every exception and every policy, it would not end.
So I
Um,
think, and I apologize for interrupting. There's a lag on my feed, but this goes back to the discussion about what this policy really is. And I think, originally there was the notion that maybe we don't do a policy, we just do rules initially, and then we just see how it evolves. And then there was a discussion at the last meeting that maybe we see this as an interim policy. And I certainly think that there are some very valid concerns, and there will be issues necessarily. It's a new space. We don't know how it's going to be used. And there are probably issues that we aren't yet foreseeing, and there might be issues that we are imagining that may not manifest themselves in the same way that we think they will, or to the same degree. Um, Given that, I wonder whether it would be worth having an interim policy, but having a more permissive interim policy rather than starting with a more restrictive one. I would rather start with the most maximalist use of the space rather than starting with a more restrictive one. And then with the understanding that it is an interim policy and based on the challenges that are encountered, we will refine it in the months to come.
I can see.
I can see that.
That's
a
what
good-
I'm supporting also, I think.
I would ask the question then, if you have a very much more permissive policy, how do you narrow it down when you discover that it doesn't work? Yeah,
Well, we don't know that yet. We
Well,
don't
you're still
know.
gonna have the signage about this is a space for teens, et cetera. It's,
I would say at the time that the teens are expected to come, then adults could be asked to leave. That could even be posted in advance, an announcement could be made, please clear the space.
but it's a little bit confusing with the open hours you talked about with the school, because that means there could be any time during the day where teens would be using the space.
But the converse to that is that as there are teens in the library, and you're just talking about a space, a general space in the library, the teens, the children, they can go anywhere. The adults don't have that same latitude. That is problematic, and I think what Rob was saying was a good start, just to try to figure out how it shakes out, give it a opportunity to move forward in some way, shape, or form, and then we can fine tune it more or add or subtract. But I agree, having something kind of restrictive to begin with, what kind of messaging are we sending to a public library, for a public library?
I propose that one of the trustees maybe craft some amendments to this policy that we can then review at the next meeting. More than one
And have
trustee.
you already taken a stab at it?
I don't know if this is the
Michael was
one,
the
but,
liaison who
Right.
drafted this policy.
okay,
So I drafted parts of it, but there were parts that I
that's fine.
wasn't aware of when we had the part locking. I wasn't aware of that. So
Michael, you want to recraft it?
I can take a look at it. Maybe Rob, myself, and Rob.
Sure.
For the trustees part, Rob and myself, we can take a look at it and then kind of have it so that we can have a more open discussion.
I think we should reserve a big chunk of time for it on the agenda. If we need to get something decided, and we circled this issue several times through several different meetings, so I would think make sure we have enough time to hopefully come closer to it.
Rob, I'll get in contact with you about that.
Does anybody else here want to, put ideas forward that haven't had a chance to express?
I'll just add that, and I don't know where I stand on this right now. Our public schools are public buildings that are paid for by taxpayer dollars, and we restrict admittance to people so that we can create a safe learning environment. We also don't allow people into our public buildings when they're not staffed at night. We would expect those to have somebody there who's paying attention to those spaces, and only then we open those buildings and allow the public in. So we are already restricting access to the public buildings under those circumstances, both in terms of time and in terms of the clientele. And so I don't think that there is, we shouldn't assume that we all get to access public spaces just because we are residents of Lincoln. And I'll just add, I wanted to put that out there because it sounded like there were certain arguments that were being made that kind of were in tension with that fact. But as I said, I do not know where I stand on this.
That's a good point, but I think that's separate from the issue about whether teens can go into the room, whether the room is open for
I
teens.
think they've covered it will be open.
Okay.
You can just go to the reference desk and they
We'll
will
get
open
the
it for
teens in.
teens.
I mean, this town does not have any kind of youth center or any place for the teens to go or to call their own. This new space is going to be their space.
Yeah.
And until this town gets.
I don't think that this is the teen center.
It
Okay,
may not be, but it is de facto until the town decides it wants to build something. They've got an opportunity with Stephen Palmer coming up that they may decide that's what they're gonna do with it. They may not, but there is no space for teens in this town, and they definitely need their own space. And it turns out that we're gonna be the ones being able to provide it first.
well, I would, suggest too that, the town spends a huge proportion of its budget on the schools and the children, and that the library is a space for all. So that's, I feel like the library is for people of all ages.
Can we, for the sake of time, can we move on just a little bit? And we can revisit this. I'll make sure that I meet with Rob and we can discuss some of these things and maybe get some feedback. I think Kay and I had a conversation where it's important that staff gives some feedback too for us in our direction as trustees to be able to be helpful in pushing these things forward. But on a lighter note, and for the sake of time, could we look at the Library Arts and Exhibition Committee report? Okay.
Yes, so we, today, this month, January, we have Barbara Martyr. She has beautifully handcrafted silver and enamel jewelry up in the cases. So welcome to Barbara. For February, we have just today, we had a woman who goes by the name, her art name is Flying Colors Mosaics. Dina Petroen, I'm not sure I have her last name here, but do we have any pictures of her, Gay, from her,
I
Gay?
do not at the moment.
Okay, so she does basically mosaics, and she would display, and she teaches mosaics in town, in her studio, and she would display in the two cases for February. So she has agreed to do February. So for her, we would need a vote. So if I could make a motion, if people want it, and then people can discuss if they want, but for Dina Troen,
Krasnow.
Krasnow.
And we have had her as part of the Open Studios exhibits over the years.
Okay.
And we have exhibited one or two pieces of her in that time. It is neat mosaics, they're very heavy mosaics. Hanging them on the wall, I'd rather have them in a case than trying to hang them on the wall, because I don't think our hooks will hold it.
So, yeah, so if I could, I move to approve Dina Frohen-Krasno and her mosaics for February.
Second?
We'll do a roll call.
A roll call, Kay Cahill,
Aye.
Gerhard Gray,
Aye.
Jay Fialko,
Aye.
Megan Small,
Aye.
Joshua Small,
Aye.
Rob Pettit,
Aye.
myself, Michael O'Neill, aye.
Okay,
This
and,
passes.
and we also have, it's looking, we approved, I think we have Barbara, let's see, for March. Susan Woodworth, how is that coming along for March?
I've not seen anything from her yet, but I believe we already approved her.
We voted on her, so
Yeah,
that's
sorry,
just,
no other questions.
most likely will be the artist when we reopen the gallery in
If they
March.
get that wooden wall down,
Yeah.
before the end of February, we should be able to exhibit in March.
Yes.
But it all depends
It
when
depends.
that wooden wall
Yeah.
comes down.
Okay.
I don't wanna, I'll hang her later in the month if I have to, but until we have 2 passageways, I can't hang her at the moment.
Right, okay, so we voted on her if it's available, we'll do that. So no further reports, we're meeting on Thursday again to look ahead for the coming year.
Okay, Rob, would you take this and pass those down? The MacGyver series, myself. I just wanted to say that Dr. Judith Steen will be here on March 29th at 2 p.m. here in the community room. She was here and confirmed, and she actually, what was really nice is that she at this particular flyer, which Jay will graciously make look better. She's going to do it, and I'm really excited for it because it's part of our memory cafe, as well as for patrons that have people with dementia. She's worked with the NFL, with women's professional sports, soccer, basketball, and we have a person that travels the world talking to doctors, and what she was telling me was that she really needed to have a forum in dealing with just the general public. And so she's going to do that, and it's like a start with it with us here at the library. But she's ready to go, and I got her to confirm, and I'm just really excited to end up. This will be the last for this, well, not this year's, because there's going to be another vice chair. But what will happen, it will be the end of my MacGyver series, and hopefully we've done enough to re-energize it, and so the next person coming up can have similar success.
Question about this flyer. It's from 2 to 3:30, not 2 separate lectures, one at 2 and one at 3:30. Is that correct?
It's 2 to 3:30.
Okay.
As I said, I will be doing some.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure there wasn't. Megan was thinking the same.
The early show and the late show?
Exactly. I mean, that's how like.
Put a dash there.
Yeah.
Well, you know something, if this particular person, she's a
Multiple shows.
She's a professor of neurology at Harvard Medical School, and herself and her husband have a laboratory named after them at Boston Children's Hospital. So she's world known. So if we had 2 shows, she probably could fill it. But one is enough. I'm all set with it. I don't need any more. Okay, Jay, do you have any update on the Friends of the Library?
They had a board meeting last night, actually.
Excellent.
And I'm not sure if it was really just confirming what they had agreed in the last board meeting in terms of providing funding for the library on your request.
Yeah, it was just the generous donation.
The additional sort of large print.
Yeah.
They got a donation for large print, and so they have a book sale coming up the end of January, so they're all starting to prepare for that. There's a guest speaker coming up Sunday, January
February 8th,
Oh, February 8th.
yes, they've got, Dr. Kiera Singleton is talking about slavery in Massachusetts. The notice just went up on the website today, to sign up for it. Friends Book Sale weekend is the January 30th through the February 1st. Usual hours, that is also up on the website.
The Friends also shared some news from the book sale committee that they're adding, the ability for patrons to pay, with non-paper currency.
Awesome. I couldn't buy something because I didn't have the right amount of money.
It gets complicated because there's a service charge even for a small fee, you
No, I
know.
know, yeah.
You can set up a Venmo.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Okay, any trustee comments? Had a long night, folks.
Oh, so I did want to thank Rob and Diane for developing the talking points for the children's room renovations.
Yes.
And that they, will be very useful as we,
Start that effort.
yes, as we start that effort.
Okay, could I ask for a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you all.
All people have to have a vote.
Oh, God, we have to do this again. Well, you know what? I'm a rookie, so it's all good. Okay. Kay Cahill,
Aye.
Gerhard Gray,
Aye.
Jay Fialka,
Aye.
Megan Small,
Aye.
Joshua Small,
Aye.
Rob Pettit,
Aye.
and myself, Michael O'Neill, aye. Thank you all. We're adjourned.